Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable time with us today and for joining us for the short webinar. I'm Kevin Jones from Core Strengths. Today, we'll be discussing some of the current organizational development issues and trends HR and learning executives face today and will likely face in years to come. These issues and trends we'll be discussing are based on insights we've gained when working with organizations globally. Before we begin, here's a quick introduction of our organization. We are Core Strengths. We help people form collaborative relationships and enable individuals, teams, and organizations to deploy strengths productively. Over 3 million people have used our strengths-based assessments and training globally. Here's a little bit of information about the man behind our tools. In 1971, this man that you can see on the screen, Elias Porter, introduced the SDI and Relationship Awareness Theory to the world. His theory focuses on personal strengths and their underlying motivations as the key to understanding people and improving relationships. This thinking underlies everything we do here at Core Strengths. In fact, our offering over the last 4 decades is the practical application of the Relationship Awareness Theory. Core Strengths collaborates with organizations worldwide across industries, equipping people and teams to achieve exceptional performance. These are some of the most globally recognizable brands. They leverage our tools to further enhance their organizational development programs. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Today, we'll be diving into the following 3 sections, starting with some of the current issues all companies are facing today. Then, we'll dive into some of the latest trends in our industry. And finally, I'll speak in a little bit more detail about Core Strengths and how we are working with companies just like you to address these issues and trends. The issues we'll be referencing are from our ongoing learnings working with the aforementioned clients. Now, let's begin by discussing the biggest current issues facing companies today. In fact, let me put that to you as a simple question. What do you think are the biggest issues companies are facing today? Despite what you might think, it isn't about focused problems like boosting productivity, keeping existing clients happy, delivering bigger projects, increasing profit margins, whilst these are all, of course, important aspects of a healthy business. The biggest issue is navigating today's diverse and complex workforce. Our workforce is changing rapidly, and the next 20 years is said to have more changes in store than the last 300. Rapid change, diverse human capital, and complex work systems all create huge stress in organizations today. The answer to this issue can be more simply defined at a higher level as the following. Companies need to easily and efficiently help their employees better understand how to work together, build better teams, and create more effective leaders. It goes without saying that when people understand and appreciate themselves and the people they work with, the entire group becomes more aware, which allows everyone to more effectively deal with high-stakes situations and deliver stronger results. In a highly effective workforce, you will see a more open, collaborative culture, a breakdown of organizational silos, high personal accountability, and the ability to engage in opposition. With the 4th industrial revolution upon us, companies now recognize these traits to be crucial to remaining adaptive with the constantly changing business environment of today. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about how companies are trying to pursue this goal. Until very recently, companies have tended to implement what are essentially profiling assessments, coupled with team building sessions or soft skill workshops, in order to fulfill this requirement. I think everyone who is on this webinar will be able to relate to the fact that these brief assessments and training sessions, whilst being somewhat productive on the day and interesting in the short term, leave employees and managers alike wondering, what's next? Is that it? In fact, this is very often what happens in organizations around the world who follow one-dimensional training programs. The responses to the basic personality assessments are filed away and end up gathering dust. At most, a limited number of people within the organization actually gain any value from the insights. They're not normally shared across all communication touchpoints and embedded deeply into the company's internal language. The focus should be on actionable plans and developing the learning outcomes. And of course, a training program that doesn't follow a coaching plan or wider strategic implementation method will provide value only in the immediate to short term, rather than actually creating huge benefit to the organization and its employees. All of this makes it very hard to achieve what is known as Kirkpatrick Level 3 or 4. In other words, actually changing the behavior and influencing results. Another area companies often miss is the rising cost of conflict. The slide here shows a number of the key costs that come with unproductive conflict in the workplace. The majority of losses, especially within a company, can be traced back to some form of unproductive conflict and poor communication. It really is as simple as that. The more our workforce changes, the quicker these costs will add up. Minimizing the impact of the cost of conflict is the responsibility of HR developers. The use of scalable and personalized training methods and moving beyond one-dimensional training can reduce the cost of conflict across the organization, avoiding unproductive conflict, low levels of employee engagement, and high levels of employee turnover. And rather, empowering the workforce within the organization to find more effective ways to communicate, collaborate, and ultimately give value to the company. To conclude, navigating diverse and complex workforces is the biggest issue organizations are facing. And if not managed properly, the cost of conflict in the organization will rise. There's no stopgap measure and hence no room for low return on investment or surface-level training and development programs, which unfortunately remain prevalent in some organizations. Now that we've covered some of the most pressing current issues, in this next section, we'll take a look at the current trends of how organizations profile their employees. All of this in the hope of developing a workforce capable of succeeding in today's business environment. In the modern, digital world, it's evident to all that personalization is the way of the future. This is a phenomenon visible in all industries. Those who don't change, update, and evolve are those who struggle and even fail. 3D printing, data analytics in manufacturing are all examples of this. In our little HRD world, nowadays, it's expected that personality assessments generate personalized reports for the individual, allowing them to truly grasp what the assessment means to them. In addition, all tools should have a 360 feedback component, allowing feedback from all levels, not just the management, but also giving peers and even customers the opportunity to evaluate an employee. This provides a truly well-rounded analysis of how an employee perceives themselves and how they are perceived by others. There should be a common language developed which deeply connects throughout the company culture in the entire organization. This helps ensure the outcomes are properly translated into results at every level of the company. I mentioned earlier the fact that digital has changed expectations. Another big change we have all observed in the last 5 to 10 years is the importance of data in everything that we do. All personality tools are now expected to be rooted in data, with siloed results no longer up to scratch. Tools must work for all types of teams, including matrix, functional, intact, virtual, whatever the composition of your organization. And finally, as a way of proving their effectiveness, tools are expected to help address conflict and hot issues identified through the assessment. If a tool is considered to fulfill all of the aforementioned requirements, then it's time to discuss the following points. Scalability. The big question here is how can an organization find an efficient way to scale and easily deliver an insightful profiling-based training program, and use the data to improve coaching, communication, and collaboration across the organization and within various company-wide HR processes. One way many companies are doing this is by implementing what's becoming known as coaching conversations, and as earlier mentioned, 360 feedback through talent management platforms, getting managers to leverage these platforms to develop coaching pathways for employees. Another technique here that some of you may be familiar with is to encourage employees to indicate their profile type or the top line of their personality assessment on the footer of their communications. Whether this is email, internal message boards, or any other place where it would be of benefit for their peers or senior managers to know a little bit more about the person they are speaking to. In our case, after attending a core strengths workshop, some of the participants place a one-page snapshot of their strengths and communication style outside their door or cubicle. These practices may seem small, but have been proven to create a common safe language throughout the organization and allow employees to convey their feelings and emotions effectively, hugely reducing the likelihood of unproductive conflicts. Moving on, personalized learning paths are very prominent in the current top learning and development trends of the last few years. It's been widely agreed upon that a cookie-cutter approach of one-size-fits-all no longer provides the outcomes required. It's vital for employees to know the only person they should be comparing themselves against is the past version of themselves, with a clear indication of how they are improving, rather than trying to keep up with the Joneses within their organization. And the last trend we'll cover in this section, performance management using platforms to manage personal development plans. This approach allows employees to leverage their own strengths, fill the required gaps in their performance, and bring them closer to becoming future leaders, highly effective in their role. Systems allow for immediate and constant feedback, with learning management systems to track performance, gamify the work experience, provide self-paced online training, and ultimately find the best way to improve the individual, and of course, in turn, the company. At this point, we should all have a good understanding of the current issues and trends in organizations when using tools to develop highly effective people. We've also covered many of the current key trends in profiling and training a workforce. Now it's time to speak a little bit about what the Core Strengths team has been focusing on and how it can help you achieve your goals and overcome some of the challenges I mentioned. To date, it's been very difficult for any single platform to provide a highly valid profiling tool and match all the expectations and needs mentioned earlier. At Core Strengths, we recognized some of the issues organizations were facing and developed what we call a relationship intelligence platform known as Core Cloud. Over the years, our clients used to complete our profiling tool known as SDI 2.0 and attend a one-day workshop called Core Strengths. But now, because of the need for scalability, personalization, deeper learning, combined with a mobile-first culture, we needed cloud technology to come into play. Our objective is for organizations to use cloud technology in managing work relationships and reducing the cost of conflict. Our offering is a cloud-based relationship intelligence platform that essentially takes the data from our profiling tool to develop a connected culture in the interest of building better relationships at the workplace, impacting team performance through a daily communication, increasing collaboration, promoting coaching conversations, and fostering better conflict management. What's more, our products can be used on the go on the mobile devices accessible by employees, and for learning managers to develop their coaching plans for each person. All of these features provide benefits to our clients, including a highly effective workforce, a more open, collaborative culture, a breakdown of organizational silos, high personal accountability, and the ability to engage in opposition. Organizations such as ExxonMobil have started piloting this and are already seeing success. We believe this is the future of organizational development. Technology, such as Core Cloud, will go a long way in helping us navigate the complex nature of our rapidly changing workforce. By combining such technology with your training, focusing on developing a common safe language, fostering employee growth, empowering their strengths, and allowing them to identify and work to improve their weaknesses, employees are significantly more likely to adopt an ownership mentality for achieving results, find ways to resolve difficult conflicts at work, and develop their own personalized roadmap for constant improvement. And at the end, hopefully, our people will not feel compelled to ask the question, "What's next? Is that it?" And with that, we've covered all the aforementioned sections, and now we're coming to the end of this presentation. I'd like to personally thank you on behalf of the whole Core Strengths team for your time in listening. We hope this short webcast has given you insights into organizational development challenges and how profiling tools and programs like Core Strengths are developing to overcome these challenges. If you'd like to learn more about Core Strengths training and Core Cloud, visit us at corestrengths.com. Thanks again for your time. It's been a pleasure. We'll speak to you soon.